bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Yeah, man. It's Monday. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. It's Monday. It's Monday, August 7th. 218 days into the new year. Just 147 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? It's Monday. It's good to be here. Had a great weekend. And I hope everybody had a great, fun, safe weekend. You probably saw the post that we did on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. It was our daughter's birthday, so happy belated birthday, Deanna, again. But we had a great time. Got the family together on Saturday night and did it up. Yep. Did it up. All good. So there you know, a little bit of recovery yesterday. A little bit. I for the most part behaved. You know, it's my daughter's birthday. You don't want to, you know, if it was my birthday, then that's a different story, right? Something else going on, it's a different story. But, you know, got to behave for your daughter, right? So I did. And we had a great time. The band, the music. Oh, man, there was like 5 or 6 different singers that night on Saturday. And every single one of them was amazing. The band was really good. So we had a great time, great weekend, but here we are. It is Monday. Now, we have a pretty smoking week here planned. So buckle up and get ready, kids. Yes, tonight, Laura Eisenhower is here. Okay? This is the kicking off what we're calling our Unity Week. Okay? And we just want to discuss us, the world, everything. So tonight, Laura's going to kick that off. And tomorrow night, Richard Dolan is going to be here. And then Wednesday night, Corey Good is going to be here. And then Thursday night, John Rappaport and Fader Night and Open Lines. Eclipse for Disclosure is happening. It's kicking off a week from this Friday up at Shasta, Mount Shasta. And we're going to be there for that. I'm going to MC and host the weekend. So there you go. Invited up there to go do that. It's going to be great. And the lineup is going to be really cool, too. Jay Widener's going to be there. Michael Sala's going to be there. Laura Eisenhower's going to be there. Of course, myself and Corey Good and others. And I'll go through all of that in just a bit. But that's kicking off. So the links for Eclipse is over, and of course, the Eclipse is on Monday morning, so we'll be there for that. And so if you would like to go, tickets and information, everything that you need is over at jimmychurchradio.com, and go and check that out. We'll get links up for you in Twitter and so forth, Facebook, but everything is there over on the website. Okay, so that's pretty exciting stuff for this week. And then, of course, going into next week, Thursday night, not this Thursday, but a week from this Thursday, we'll be traveling up to Shasta. So that will be a best of replay show on Thursday night. Okay, but we'll see everybody up there. I know that a bunch of you have already let us know that you are going, and, you know, it's going to be great. There is nothing like, and the facility. You guys have to see the facility that they're doing this in up there. And I think there are tickets left, but definitely it's going to be sold out. So go and get your tickets now. But there is nothing like throwing out Fade to Black T-shirts. I swear to you. That is my man. We've got to get that T-shirt cannon. Yeah, can somebody help me out in Twitter? Rita's not here. She's not in the bunker right now. Can somebody help me out? Is there a place where I can get a T-shirt cannon? You know, is it? I mean, can you purchase them? A T-shirt cannon. Somebody posted up in Twitter. Let's see who my producer is tonight. Let me see who is on their game. All right, so let's get this show cracking. We got a lot to do tonight. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio, Facebook, YouTube. You know what to do. Follow, like, and subscribe. Sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. Now, breaking news, the Stan Romanek trial has ended. Closing arguments wrapped up. Both sides have rested, and it's headed for the jury in the morning. Homeland Security, the feds got involved and have charged him with child pornography and the possession and distribution of child pornography. I believe it was just maybe not distribution, but certainly possession. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later. But the argument on his side is that hackers, somebody got to his computers and planted this stuff, and Homeland Security is saying the opposite. They were a part of a larger sting operation, and the IP addresses were going to Romanek's house. So that's where it stands. I think the trial went on now since the 31st, so it's nearly a week long, and it goes to the jury in the morning. We will see how this plays out. It's dark. Okay, it's dark. Let's move on for now. Happy birthday to today. Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden, is 59. David Duchovny today is 57. Did you see, by the way, the new Twin Peaks? Duchovny, right? Reprising his role. Did you guys see that? He's not like the director of the FBI. Oh, man. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, Duchovny today is 57. I actually went over the weekend, strangely enough, I went and watched the first X-Files movie. I forget, man, it had been so long. That whole cornfield thing, right, with the bees. Remember that? Anyway, it's been a while since I'd seen it. Pretty good flick. Anyway, OTD, on this day in history, 1947. On this day in 1947, everything happened in 1947. I would have loved to have lived through 1947. Yeah, because on this day in 1947, the Kon-Tiki, a wood raft captained by Thor Heyerdahl, completes a 4,300-mile, 101-day journey from Peru all the way over to Tahiti. Heyerdahl wanted to prove prehistoric South Americans could have colonized the Polynesian islands by drifting on ocean currents. And he did that in 1947. Fader fact. The average intelligence, now this is vetted, now just get ready, okay? The average intelligence of humans has risen 20 IQ points since 1950. Probably because of 1947. All right, tonight, very special guest Laura Eisenhower is back with us. And such a great person and a great conversation to be had with her every time she is on the show. I'm looking forward to this. So just get comfortable. Laura is here tonight. Tomorrow night, Richard Dolan is back. Wednesday night, Corey Good joins the show. So full week here on Fade to Black. Thursday night is going to be another Fader night with John Rappaport. and his No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by Open Lines. All right, and now I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black the owner, the chief bottle washer, the head cook, the proprietor of New Pharma, Chip Paul. Chip, good evening, sir.
Hey, Jimmy, how are you tonight?
Chief cook. That's you. Chief cook. Actually, actually that works, doesn't it?
It does work. It does work. Yeah, that's kind of what we do. Is we we work with food. I mean, it's kind of cooking in a way.
You're the chief cook, man. You're the chief cook. How are you? How's life? How's business?
Oh, doing good. So business is doing good. We're developing as a company and kind of doing what we need to do. We've kind of done our science thing first, and now we're getting ready to bring products to the market, which we're happy to offer to your audience, certainly. And life is good, man. Life is good. So it's pretty good here in Oklahoma. Kind of a cool summer. We had a weird August tornado on Saturday night. It was the strangest thing. I think third one on record in Oklahoma, which was quite bizarre. But
wow,
interesting, right?
Wow, really? Did you see it?
We were literally with it. We were at a party at a friend's house. And it was thunderstorming and everything, so we knew it was thunderstorming, and we got on the highway to drive home, and it hit within a quarter mile of us. So we get on the highway, and the highway's littered with all these bricks, and it just, there's trash, and the power's off, and we're trying to figure out what the hell happened. Right. And it actually hit a building, probably a 19-story building that was right next to the highway, and blew bricks all over the highway. But it was crazy. Yeah, nobody was injured, but there were some people in a Whataburger, I guess, 1:30 Saturday morning in the Whataburger, right? And all of a sudden the roof comes off. And those people did have to, go to the hospital, but no one was badly hurt, so that's we're very lucky.
Yeah, tornadoes freak me out, and whenever you see one in person, I've seen it a couple of times in my life, not a whole lot. I'm from the Midwest, so that happens, and I've seen some in Colorado, but there's a difference for me with tornadoes and earthquakes, because people always say to me, they go, well, you know what, man, you guys got it so good out there. Out here we have tornadoes, man, and you guys have palm trees, and you guys, and my thought immediately is, dude, we have earthquakes. And the difference between earthquakes and tornadoes, I mean, I wouldn't care about earthquakes if we had an earthquake warning. They gave us, you know what I mean? And, okay, the earthquake's going to be here in 20 minutes. It's going to be, you know what? Then just hang on, okay? And right? But,
and here normally, in Oklahoma, it's great weather forecasting. I mean, we have, they'll know, 2 hours out, we have a high probability of a tornado.
Right.
Yeah, so this one was really unusual. But, yeah, you're right. And interestingly enough, now in Oklahoma, we're like the earthquake capital of the world.
I know.
They're all like...
Yes. I was in Memphis when they had an earthquake in Memphis, right? And I was like, wait a minute,
that's a scary one, man. That's on the New Madrid Fault,
right? Which we didn't even know existed. So
exactly.
Oh man. So the science behind New Pharma. One of the things about your website is your website is there for education, and because you are breaking and blazing trails, right? You're breaking into something new. This is new science. Why it's called New Pharma. And what can people get from your website if they're going to go there and try to find out about the science behind it?
Oh, well, they can get a lot. I mean, in it, you're right. There's a lot of natural product companies, right? There's a lot of herbal supplement companies. But there's not a lot of herbal supplement companies that really have, real science. And the cool thing that we have is we've figured out a way, and again, we work with this system called the endocannabinoid system, and everybody immediately assumes, oh, you've got cannabis or you're using CBDs in your product.
Right.
And we don't do that, in any way. We're able to, and this is our science, really, we're able to manipulate that same system by using very simple herbs and spices, really just food. And what that indicates is really cool, right? So it indicates that we have this system, and the endocannabinoid system is something that is just, we developed it before we developed a brain. We developed it in the same common ancestor where we developed a central nervous system. So in the same guy we developed a central nervous system, we developed this endocannabinoid system, and we dragged him up the evolutionary ladder, right?
Right.
So he's very important. The system is very important. And in our science, we say this is your master regulatory system. And certainly there's lots of evidence to back that up, but we're in the process of really proving that with our, kind of university relationships. But the cool thing is that this system is all nutrition-based, right? So it can be manipulated with food. So what does that say? I mean, that says that if you have something wrong with you that's not a virus, and it's not traumatic, and it's not genetic, that it's probably a regulatory issue. And we're saying things like, your heart is a regulatory issue, mood is a regulatory issue, hormones are regulatory issues, and regulatory issues can be addressed with resources, right? And so our science basically indicates that we can target these resources to be able to influence the endocannabinoid system to produce kind of, pretty interesting and dramatic effects. So what we've done is we've, kind of chosen to productize what we feel like are big problems in society and big places where we're nutritionally deficient. And if you look at inflammation in particular, and again, this gets a little complicated, but inflammation leads to so many different, what medical science would call diseases, what we would call regulation issues. So inflammation really is responsible for allergies, for diabetes, for, all these autoimmune diseases. And again, in our world, it's a resource issue, right? So we can target resources, and that's what we kind of do with our foundation product, is we target resources to be able to address a nutritional deficit, and your body just gobbles up these resources. A very interesting thing I think that we're going to find in the near future is that we all understand how important it is for us to have vitamins and minerals. And, I know a lot of your listeners listen to Dr. Wallach, and we would be right on that train, right? So completely in agreement with that. But if you think about how your body processes vitamins and minerals, your body really doesn't want them in a, starch pill or even in a liquid, because it's very difficult for you to absorb them. Your body wants to ingest minerals and nutrients, and we would also argue one other thing, and that's plant-based flavonoids in the form of plants. And so it's very important, that we sort of have these nutritional resources. And the interesting thing is they're just gonzo from our diet, right? So our diet is just horrible, the American diet. And
right.
We're all, nobody knows what healthy looks like. We're all just so nutritionally depleted, really.
And, well, like me, I like the occasional burger or double burger or double chili cheeseburger with grilled onions. I enjoy that. I do. And there's there's other things that right. I'm just pizza. I can go on and on and on and on and on. And I never really thought that kind of stuff was really unhealthy if you were eating it fresh and good beef, and but it cannot be good for you. And so with that, is there a way to just make me feel better, about it, right? And not have the guilt, and maybe even turn it into healthy. I don't know.
So again, in our world, you need vitamins, you need minerals, and you need plant flavonoids to kind of run your body. So really everything else that you do past that is kind of, it's like putting gas in the engine, right? It's calories that you're going to burn. So what's, optimal for your body? And certain people, definitely meat may be, an optimal choice, but a mixed diet, and certainly plants are incredibly important. I mean, nobody eats enough plants. You could walk within, probably 100 yards of where anyone in the world lives, and be able to find probably enough, forage for enough plants, unless you're in New York City, I guess, but to be able to forage for enough plants to be able to probably properly fuel your endocannabinoid system, or you used to be able to, I'll say.
Right.
That's how sort of prevalent this stuff is, but we don't get it anymore. I mean, we just don't get it anymore. So the thing that we've done is, if you like your cheeseburger, like me, and I can't tell you how much my diet, though, has modified, and it kind of happens naturally. So I've probably been taking these supplements more than anyone, longer than anyone in the world, probably about 2 years now. And I used to be I'm an athlete, I've done triathlons and marathons and all that junk, but, and I used to eat a lot. I literally eat probably 3 times as much as a normal human being my size. I ate a ton. I mean, people used to joke about it. I'd go eat, get 2 plates at a Mexican food restaurant.
Right.
But when I started taking these supplements, interestingly, I still eat a mixed diet, definitely, but I'm probably eating, I probably eat, a quarter of what I used to eat. And that's just because of efficiency, right? I still do all the things I used to do. I mean, I still run and still work out and all that. But I don't need the calories. My body is performing more efficiently, so I absorb, my nutrients more efficiently. At least, that's sort of speculative, but that's what we think is happening. So,
well, we should post a picture of you, because most people don't know Chip is actually 97 years old. And now, and what about that, Chip? We all want to live longer, and we are living longer and healthier lives today. But with your products and those supplements, with the ECS, is it possible? Is it possible to add a couple of more years, a couple of more weeks, another decade?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is speculative, but just, logic would dictate this, that we really don't know what healthy looks like. And I don't think generationally, I don't think we know what healthy looks like. And if you go back just anecdotally and look at, and I did this, I mean, to me, I kind of got onto this, 2 ways. One through kind of medical marijuana, which got me on the endocannabinoid system, but the other way was through aging. And I'm highly, highly interested in aging and why we age. Every cell in our body regenerates. It wants to regenerate. So why don't we why aren't we perpetually 30, right? Because we could be. I mean, we have the capability to be. So where does that get shut down?
Right.
Certainly a big part of where that gets shut down is nutritionally. So if you don't have the resources to run you, you're just not gonna get there. But I'm 57 years old. I don't look like I'm 57, certainly, and the supplements definitely, I think, make a tremendous difference.
And now with the Fadernauts, you have a very aggressive program going for them, and we all appreciate it, and I want to thank you for that. But what exactly is it, and what's the promo code?
Yeah, so the promo code is the letter F, the number 2, and the letter B, and it's 33% off. We introduced our product, and I'll just tell a quick story, Jimmy. So we introduced our product at Contact in the Desert, where we met you, and it was a really cool interaction. And we were selling our product for just our wholesale price at Contact in the Desert, and that's really where we wanted to introduce it, because that's who we are, really, as people. And, we just felt like that was appropriate. So we wanted to extend to your audience always that wholesale price of 33% off. So anybody who goes to our website, puts in that code, will get 33% off anything on our website.
Man, that's so cool. And I wanted to, and thank you for that, seriously, because it's all about being family, and all of our sponsors here and our audience, we're just one big family. And so from them through me to you, just thank you. You mentioned something to me earlier today, because we were talking about diet and how important diet is, and the fact that I should pay more attention to it than I do. I'm lucky that I don't have a whole lot of health issues. I think partly I take the right supplements, and B, I think a frame of mind, and the fact that I'm not going to a doctor once a week and, getting loaded up on big pharma crap, that helps me a lot. But you had said that the way that you because everything that you do is herbs and vegetables and, you know, it's food. So it will help me counteract and take care of everything else that I'm so deficient in, right? And can you explain that to the audience?
Yeah, sure. So it basically, it's really interesting the way that our products work. And again, it's a little bit scientific and a little bit complicated, so I'll try to keep it very, very simple. But our patents have to do with mimicking medical cannabis. So we're trying to create the same effects within your neurology that medical cannabis does. And people go, oh, well, you can't do that with plants. Are you kidding? Well, it turns out, guess what? One of the universities that we work with, University of Mississippi, has mapped about 4,000 different plant-based flavonoids against CB1 and CB2, the endocannabinoid neuroreceptors, and a bunch of other neuroreceptors. And that data is available to really anyone, through them. But it turns out that plants have influence at these neuroreceptors. And so our patents really have to do with how to mimic medical cannabis's effects. And so and it turns out this is not a medical thing at all. It sounds kind of medical and technical, but it's really not. It's nutritional. So we nutritionally basically present resources to the body, and your body, because it's just craving these resources, wants to use them in the appropriate way. But we target neuroreceptors, and we try to kind of mimic medical cannabis's effects at, things like pain and inflammation. Now, the interesting thing that's highly interesting about our stuff is medical cannabis will only really affect your neurology. There's no backup necessarily of additional resources. With our herbal products, we're backing them up with additional resources. And so I'll give you a great example. In our foundation product, which is kind of our general health thing, we're trying to manipulate the endocannabinoid system in a certain way. And again, we're nutritionally trying to do this. But we're also providing, some very interesting herbs. So we're providing turmeric, which is very, very good for gut health, and it's a very good anti-inflammatory anyway. But, it's a very good resource for your gut and really helps condition your gut in a similar way that probiotics and things like that would. And we're doing some other things there too. We're doing something with black cumin that's interesting, but has to do really with kind of your inflammation and allergy pathways. So there's a lot kind of going on to our products, and there's a lot of science behind what we're doing, but it's all nutritional, which is cool. So our products are safe for kids, they're safe for dogs, they're safe for your animals. It's just food, right? It's just like going out and eating, a whole bunch of white onions and licorice. And we have purposely chosen herbs that are safe, right? That don't have contraindications, that aren't controversial. So we've purposely tried to put together products that are very safe, very high quality too, and we have a big testing program behind everything that we do. So.
Right. Thank you so much, Chip. And again, it's newpharma.com. Everybody just go to the website, click on it right there, head over, check out the science behind the products, and use that promo code F2B. You're going to get 33% off of everything that New Pharma sells. Thank you so much, Chip, and thank you for all that you do, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Jimmy, man. Thank you very much.
Have a great night. That's Chip Paul, everybody. New Pharma. GNUpharma.com. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and I'll be right back with our guest, Laura Eisenhower. Stay right there.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black.
you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply and, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio right now. Join in the sandbox. We don't bite over there. Hashtag F2B. And, of course, we have the chat rooms over at KGRA and Spreaker. All right. We have a great week this week. An absolute amazing week. Tonight, Laura Eisenhower is here. Tomorrow night, Richard Dolan. And Wednesday night, Corey Good. Thursday night's another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by Open Lines. Another amazing week. Kicking off tonight with Laura Eisenhower. She is an intuitive astrologist, a global alchemist, a cosmic mythologist. She is the great-granddaughter of Dwight David Eisenhower. She's on a profound mission to reveal our true origins connected with the Magdalene and the Gaia-Sophia. Yeah, those energies of love and wisdom, and works to liberate us from the military-industrial complex, the Archonic systems, and, of course, those false power structures. Going through an intense world soul journey of the labyrinth, Laura has discovered an ability to open a natural stargate by co-creating with the Venus transits and weaving through the multi-dimensions of higher and lower worlds, clearing portals and moving past gatekeepers. Laura works to free us from the 3D holographic time loop and guide us back to Pleroma. Now, totality of the divine powers. With great passion and courage, she is helping us return sacred union, divine wisdom, and the many faces of the goddess that have been buried and forgotten for thousands of years. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Laura Eisenhower. Laura, good evening.
Good evening, Jimmy.
How are you?
I'm pretty darn good. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
It's so good to hear your voice. And now the last time we were hanging out, we were down here in L.A. for Disclosure Fest. And what I wanted to ask you about that, I mean, how cool was it to see that park in the middle of downtown Los Angeles packed with thousands of people there to meditate and hang out and just do their thing? Wasn't that just an amazing event?
Oh, absolutely. Adrian's vision and intention is exactly what I feel we should all be focusing on or doing, whether it's in our smaller community or on a larger scale. The power of our intention when we all come together is really impactful to the collective. And I just felt, gosh, what a perfect example. And I was so touched by your introduction. It still is it's in my heart. I couldn't even believe it. And the heat was a bit much.
It was, wasn't it? It was.
It was a really hot day, but, you know, when you're dealing with community and everybody's looking out for each other, I mean, we all look out for each other, and it was exceptional, yeah.
Yeah, I was, people were starting to shed clothes there, too, and I was getting a little nervous. I thought I was going to turn into Burning Man.
Just pour water over my head. We'll
yes.
Leave it at that.
But, you're right about that. It was great fun, and for you and I, and we had all of our friends there that were, hanging out and supporting us. But for me to have the opportunity to introduce you, I mean, it's brother and sister. How cool is that? And it's all part of the family. And it was, it was my honor. It was really, really cool. It was a great event. Great event.
Oh my God. I can't wait to introduce you someday. Watch out, world.
Okay. You know what? Okay. Next time out. Well, we're going to be together again. I can't believe it. A week from this Friday, we're going to be up at Shasta together, where I'm going to introduce you, but maybe you should introduce me introducing you.
Please, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, did you say me introducing you?
Yeah, you introduce me introducing you.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that'll work, right?
That would totally work.
Yeah, why not?
I'm signed up, and I'm all about it, but I really need to go on about just you, and as long as I get that opportunity, gosh, you do wonders for us, hosting 2 radio shows, keeping the humor up, having your fader knots. I still have my gummy bracelet, oh my goodness.
Yeah, right.
So much gratitude, and thank you for just having me on. I think I've been on a few times, and you're definitely family, and Rita, and it's all good stuff.
Well,
This is the heart.
Yeah, and see, the thing is you're only human, right? And that's one of the things that I appreciate the most about you is your openness about your continuing self-discovery too as well. You're still figuring things out. But at the same time, Laura, everybody looks to you for advice and sensibility and trying to stay grounded and trying to work our way through this mess that is planet Earth today. But you weren't always like this. Before things opened up for you, were you out of control? Did you? I'm talking about as a child. Did you have to figure things out, or were you always like this?
I really haven't changed that much. I mean, I don't think I was able to be as transparent. I got shut down. I didn't really have a voice. I got interrupted all the time. People projected on me and dismissed me way more than what I experience now. I mean, of course, there's trolls and there's opposition and there's targeting and there's people who are suspicious trying to sort through disinformation and truth. But I think people resonate with the fact that I'm not afraid to admit that I'm human and I have my struggles. So as a kid, I was always downloading major stuff, and I feel I did have a capacity to see through the programming, but it ended up messing with me to the point where I kind of lost myself. It's not that I went into self-doubt, but I felt so isolated. And then I just had to sort of accept, along with the, I guess, reassurance from spirit guides and synchronicities that came out of nowhere to give me certain signs that, you know, it's okay. And you're helping to open a doorway. You're helping to open people up into greater awareness. And it's not about my truth. It's about something that exists within them that I'm helping them to recognize. And so how can I not stay humble? Because it's really not about me. But I've had a sensitivity to the truth frequency, or something quite organic. Truth is relative, though. I wouldn't say it's a truth that would dominate over others.
Right.
But what it means to stand in your authenticity, which to me is a prerequisite to unity consciousness, which is what we're beginning to embrace more and more. You know, accepting the differences that we might have as we all share information without going to war, because that would only reenact the very things we're trying to move away from.
Well, today, everything that you and a large part of our community has been talking about, which is the elitist, the control, the dominance, trying to force us on that status quo path and keep us there and keep blinders on. Today, I don't think it has ever been more obvious to those that just don't get it. That struggle continues today, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Yeah. I mean, everybody's moving at their own speed, and we have to kind of hold space for that and keep the greater love and respect and compassion alive versus putting each other down because, oh, you are asleep, you're a sheeple. It's, you know, sometimes venting is understandable, but when we approach these people, it's important to go past the programming and really talk to their soul to help illuminate it so the rest can fall away, because they'll feel the difference between trying to live up to something that creates insecurity or arrogance, which is the two extremes of ego. But then there's that center point between the two where you can feel into this greater love. And I think people crave that more than anything. And the other two are just compensating for how void that is in our societal upbringing, I guess you could say, or what we inherit from parents or what we get exposed to in school, and these, you know, powers that wish they were that aren't anymore. And
what is really fascinating to me is we just came off this election, and I think that no matter what, we were hoping for change, right? And it seemed like we had two bad choices in front of us. But with that, we were actually hoping for change with all the exposure of fake news and the media, and the world was coming to grips with all of this. And now here we are today. Instead of moving in a more positive direction, we have issues all over the globe now. We thought we had issues last year with Syria and ISIS, and now it's North Korea and it's Russia and it's China and Libya. Now Venezuela is flaring up. This elitist power struggle with the military-industrial complex is never been more out of control today. How do we deal with this?
Well, we got to recognize that we're sort of a replica of the collective without getting stuck on some New Age philosophy that cancels out the fact that there are other things going on. It's not always a direct reflection, but if we look at it on a collective level, you know, there's stargates that relate to our DNA and our chakras. And if there's something messed up or there's some sort of duality or some sort of war, we have to turn to ourselves and recognize the war is one within, and that we're the advanced technology, and we can carry an override frequency that can blast that stuff out. So it's sort of the same thing if we have an issue in our physical health. It's a battle between our immune system and some virus or bacteria or fungus, but we always have the upper hand. And the thing is, the Earth body, Gaia, and things going on on a cosmic level hold the medicine and antidote. I mean, I remember being in England when I lived there. The stinging nettle that could sting you is also an amazing herb, but right next to the stinging nettle is a plant called the dock leaf, and that actually takes away the itch. So, and I started to notice that pattern that everywhere there's a poison, there's a solution. And when we look at the things going on a larger global scale, instead of thinking we should fight the system, we should look within ourselves and ask ourselves, where are we contaminated by this? Where is it affecting us on a physical level? And to really honor the physical symptoms that are giving us clues about what we need to do personally to emit a frequency that can help to override whatever corruption or toxicity. And I think that's the greatest lesson that we have in front of us. And I think it comes down to not giving our power away and trusting that there's a messenger there, even with the negative alien agenda. We're in a free will universe, and so that darkness, well, I don't even want to say darkness because darkness to me isn't negative, but something that's opposing us can be a great teacher. And I know that sounds cliche, but to identify with it on that level, I think serves us much more than being the victim. But at the same time, I honor people when they have to sit in their victimhood. It's just not a place to remain. But to say, oh, you're being a victim, I think is like, come on. We're being majorly messed with here. It's okay to feel like a victim.
Well,
my God,
yeah,
we're being tampered with.
That's and when the vast majority of those out there that are not awakened, and that's the majority, right? That's everybody. We're the minority here, but they are constantly pummeled. They're pummeled with their diet. They're pummeled with the media. They're pummeled at work. They're pummeled with bills. They're pummeled. And how can they not be affected by the darkness that is just weighing down on the top of their head?
Right. And it's either really suffering under that thumb or joining in with it and thriving from the rewards of being exploitive or out of integrity, because that's where the rewards are in the programmed society. And so I think we have to find the middle ground, similar to the middle ground between religion and being a hedonist or so rebellious that you lose your soul essence because you're fighting against a false version of what God is or the Christ teaching. And I think we just have to step back and say, wait a second, we got this internal meter inside of us to determine what really works. And people need to start to have more faith in themselves and embrace the positive and negative experiences in order to be more of the alchemist. Because the thing is, with the 13th sign coming online in the zodiac, Ophiuchus coming into the picture around 2010 when the sun crossed through it, it's ruled by Chiron, the wounded healer, but it's connected to the 13th gate, which is in the core of the planet, and it brings us into these multidimensional energies. And that's available to us. So we got this artificial intelligence that's sort of prying on ego wounds and also a false sense of spiritual identity, when the best thing that we can do is say, hey, we're wounded. Okay, this is messed up. Yeah, this is out of balance. Let's step up to the plate and recognize this and be humble about it and nurture ourselves and our relationships and our community with the ability to say, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm working on this, or, oh, yeah, I recognize this in you, but without being a control freak, more being a concerned and compassionate being, recognizing the oneness of it all without it being sameness. More diversity and harmony is the true oneness.
Yeah, and I think that probably now more than ever, somebody that wouldn't have a clue, right? I mean, I have a clue what we're talking about, now would understand a bit more and would actually be open to having a conversation about this. And I'm talking about the man or the woman, somewhere in the United States that's working 9 to 5, that is going to, that has a favorite sports team and has no idea who you are, right? You know what I mean? Because they are seeing so many crazy things now that they've heard about, but that are actually playing out and coming true, from whatever, from Hillary talking about aliens on Jimmy Kimmel to fake news and the media conspiracy. Well, this is stuff that was always on the fringe before, and now it's playing out for the masses. And so I think people would now be, pretty open to maybe thinking that we're onto something here, and maybe we can start to affect a change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the great messages that all of us can provide is to pay attention to your own creative vessel. And what are you choosing to embrace, and where are your boundaries? I mean, truth is truth as far as my thing is, I don't have fixed beliefs, but I have an open mind for everything. I'm not going to take away somebody's truth because I haven't experienced it. I'm going to have an open mind to it, but I'm not going to fix myself to it and give my power away.
Right.
And I'm going to do my best to stay in a neutral zone and express from a place of, well, beyond a reasonable doubt, this feels like truth to me. See if it resonates. See what sort of thing it triggers in you, but then have your own experience with it. You know, and I think when people hear this stuff in the news or talk shows, there is a little bit of a risk of a manipulation, just like any disinfo always has a lot of truth, and then there's a glitch in it. And that's where people can say, well, I got a bit of truth from it, but that glitch factor is where I turn to myself as a sovereign being, and I start to listen to my intuition. Because people get triggered, and they either get triggered in rejecting what they hear or embracing it to the point of losing themselves. And I think there's a fine line between any information we hear, you know, to always go back to center and trust yourself enough in the way that you process to put yourself a little bit first without being so egocentric that you say everything else is BS. And this is why I refuse to smear anybody publicly unless I have the absolute proof. Who am I to say what's BS over anything else? But
I think that paradigm shift for a lot of people can be difficult to handle too, as well. I mean, to the point where, you know, maybe being even angry and lashing back out and retaliating, because it is such a violent paradigm shift that they have to accept another reality when they were just getting comfortable and getting beaten down, right? and they're comfortable with that, and then you whip this out on them, and they may want to accept it as truth, but that's a lot of anger that could potentially come out of that too as well.
Right, and that's why it's really important to have that positive message, because just like the physical body, the immune system is more powerful than the disease or, you know, anything that's fragmenting the body. Spirit is greater than that. And so, you know, it's a very important message of this is a time of liberation. This is a time of unity consciousness. This isn't bad news, but it's such a betrayal. It's like finding out something like a relationship that you've invested in is full of lies. And that's where the denial is, because we're taught that status or success comes with kind of answering to that kind of crap. And then all of a sudden you find out, geez, after working this hard, it's serving some sort of imbalance or off-planet negative scenario that has a galactic history that we weren't even given access to in school.
Right.
On top of our tax dollars supporting things like secret space programs. How could that be true?
Right.
But yet we're raised learning about dinosaurs and all sorts of crazy stuff that we probably wouldn't believe if we were told in our adult years versus childhood, where the conditioning is we're much more susceptible. But we're kept in the dark, and that's why it's so shocking. And so all these vulnerable, well, I don't know about vulnerable, but really well-intentioned people, it's a huge important part of the process to get angry, but to ward away from maybe the war mentality, but let that anger turn into passion. You know, where is that helping you see your inspiration and your role in all this without feeling lesser than or greater than, because those are the old paradigm ego constructs. You know, just feel into what you need in the now. And yeah.
That is so true, though.
Understand.
That is so true. And I can say with certainty that we are so conditioned with possessions, right? The car, the house, the job, the clothes, the cologne, the haircut. The watch. We are so conditioned with that. I can say with certainty that nobody ever got a new car, the one that they thought that they were supposed to have, and suddenly had new friends, right? That suddenly was happy. You get to the end of the line and you look at the house that was supposed to bring you happiness, and the car, or the three cars, right? And all of that, and you were supposed to have enlightenment. That was supposed to bring you happiness. And it just doesn't, right? That's that false prophet.
Right. And then the other extreme is have no belongings at all, to be on a spiritual path and denounce everything or be celibate. And so, again, it's like the balance. And putting yourself first in a lot of ways without it being a self-absorbed type thing. Pay attention to your body, because there's so much unconscious energy that manifests as disease and unwellness that we tend to blow off thinking, oh, this is just the human condition. Same with the stigma of being a failure or having some sort of learning disability. And it's a doorway into being deprogrammed, to accept yourself and say, you know what, I don't need to wear that. I don't need to wear that projection. That might actually mean that I'm tapped into something completely different that is needed to be brought into expression. And building self-worth is difficult because our parents might have not met our needs. They might be so immersed in the program that, there's abusiveness connected to not measuring up. So this is where this community is so important, because I feel like we're all holding hands and we're all recognizing that we all carry a little bit of those wounds, but we all carry a huge part of that greater wisdom. And the more we can share and be real on both spectrums of it without shutting down our wisdom because we don't feel good enough or feeling too ashamed to admit that we're wounded, and if we could just let that go, I think that's the key.
Spot on the money. Spot on the money. And with your contacts, with your clients and friends that are contacting you, we've got about 60 seconds, Laura, before the break. What's the general concerns out there that you're hearing about?
Well, I've taken a bit of a hiatus here and there. A lot of people not feeling they have a purpose, or feeling a little bit overwhelmed with what's going on with them on a physical level, or feeling very daunted about the transitions they're in if they lose the job or relationship. And this is a great calling where I feel like, oh, man, I mean, interpreting a chart and tarot cards is one thing, but having my own life experience where I deeply understand is another, and then really exercising my psychic mind for a long time, helps me to be in that neutrality, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I totally relate. Oh, let me share my story. So it's been an interesting journey doing readings for people. Even going through a lot, I've still been able to be pretty effective, but it hasn't been as stable as I would like it to be. But I do notice the theme is, what's my purpose, and where am I headed from here? Or, oh, I feel so lost, or I don't know where I'm going. And I find in everybody's chart that there's avatar consciousness. The greatest potential of what you can become is in everybody's chart, but there's different pathways to get there. And so what I'd like to do is to just help illuminate the things that might be considered a negative or an issue, because children have gifts and abilities that are suppressed that become toxic because they become internalized. Like, oh, it's something wrong with me being psychic, something wrong with me, being sovereign. And what I find has been the common theme is twisting that around and saying, that is the very quality that you came in to express. And the only reason you're coming to me is to reflect that back to you. It's not advice, it's not counseling, it's just holding a mirror up, because that part of you that knows that you're made of it is not your ego, and it's not a lie. And even if it is your ego, people like you should have an ego instead of the schmuck cabals that we need to kick, right?
Yeah, it's time for Laura to kick you in the cabals. Our guest tonight is Laura Eisenhower. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. More with Laura right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product. What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring two Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hard shell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The two full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tappy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Laura Eisenhower. Always a great conversation when she's with us. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me right now on Twitter at JChurchRadio. And I'm watching these comments here on Twitter. Laura's breaking it down. Here is a really good question. This comes from Mark way over in Australia. And he says, is the continuous onslaught of fake news and general pressures in society designed to cause health issues in people?
Oh, well, that's definitely a part of it. I would say issues on multiple levels. When you're not able to process it and find the truth within yourself, to be able to have the discernment, it's going to create an energy block because you're living in a false construct. Once your belief systems give way to those memes or that propaganda, and it's not in harmony with the earth or your physical body, which is a replica of the original grids before the Archonic invasion of, we could call it Draco, reptilian, negative factions of the Anunnaki, whatever, if we're going to get technical with our terminology. Well, that's not really technical, they're species. But the thing is this is why we need to listen to our bodies, because that is going to help us find our truth. If we can each recognize our bodies as temples and we can listen to it more, when there's a symptom, instead of kind of blowing it off while still creating belief systems that counteract the flow and energetic circulation that exists between the cosmos and this particular divine planet, then we're on our way. So, yeah, it's designed to dumb us down, to keep us conquered and divided, to impact our health so that they can make money from us. It's all part of the parasitic systems that we don't have to pay attention to. I mean, it needs to be starved. And there needs to be a relationship broken, similar to getting a divorce. And so my presentations are trying to get sort of metaphorical in relationships. Divorce the imposter, embrace the authenticity of true love. And breaking bonds with the imposter are the energies or belief systems that impact you on a physical level. And yes, there are many out there, and the infiltration is so vast that I would say that everywhere we turn, it's surrounding us. And so this is our opportunity to say, I don't think so. And if enough of us say that, which I think we already have, they don't stand a chance, because they're not connected to the regenerative power of nature. They're not connected to source. They only plug into us, and they siphon our energies. And without us, they're pretty much nothing.
How do
yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish.
Or they would have to either go through a transformation or become space dust.
Right.
See ya.
Well, how do we, and I've been on this kick lately trying to figure out my own body, my family's health too as well. How do we take care of our bodies when we are absolutely pummeled with a society of not only GMOs and fast foods and Doritos, but sometimes for a lot of us, that's the only access that we have to as well, and that combined with pollution and electromagnetic interference and just microwaves. I mean, it's all designed to keep us unhealthy. So where do we start?
Well, I think one needs to look at the frequency behind it all and recognize that we're multidimensional beings, and we're really functioning on a very low level of DNA compared to what we have that's held dormant. It's not gone. It hasn't been destroyed. There's been frequency fences and seals put in from both positive and negative forces, because there was a needed quarantine. I mean, and, take or leave it. I'm not here to be like, oh, this is exactly how it went. But if you look at the duality that we're in, and even the metaphor of the tree of knowledge compared to the tree of life, the tree of knowledge has to do with good and evil. So when we're sitting here discerning, I mean, I think we all have to just sit back and say, all right, that doesn't sound negative. Whatever you saw on the news or however somebody treated you, well, what can you do with that? Are you going to let that crush you and crumble you? Are you going to stay in a belief system that lowers your vibration to where chemtrails and the toxicity in foods becomes poisonous? Or are you going to hold a space of honoring yourself and recognizing this greater love and this greater timeline that nobody can destroy? And are you going to step upon it and devote yourself to it so that if you did have to eat crap food, you would have a frequency that could transmute it and alchemize it, and you don't have to fear making sure everything's organic and it's perfectly vegan and raw. It's like, and letting go of all that too, because sometimes the stress of having to do it all right can get the best of us and lower our frequency. I think, just being in a place of humor, discernment, and recognizing the priority of love, unity consciousness, love being priority on really taking care of yourself, doing the best you can do for yourself, making the best and wisest choices you can, but honoring your relationships and the greater community, like I said before. That's going to help, and it's very nutritious. We think it all has to come through food, and yes, that plays a huge part, but the divine frequencies that we can bring in by just honoring that alone can counteract all sorts of crap. So yeah, we're breathing in stuff, we're swimming in waters, we're eating things, we're breathing in chemtrails, and yeah, it feels like an ultimate attack and assault. How the heck are we going to get over that? But the more we recognize what's being targeted, which is sacred union relationships and unity consciousness and our own divine relationship to spirit and Christ consciousness and the goddess, the more we can turn that around and say, hey, I don't need an external individual to tell me where I'm at with that. And I don't need to judge myself for slipping and falling and not doing it all perfectly.
Right.
I think that frequency alone is the most nutritious thing, and we can match that awareness with doing the best we can on a physical level, but we got to cut ourselves some slack because, I mean, my God, like they call it whole paycheck. We know how that goes. I mean, this stuff is expensive.
Well, I'll tell you something.
I'll
tell you something really funny. A vegan diet, right? The most holistic, wonderful, perfect vegan diet does not necessarily make a nice person. And what I mean by that is, I hear you. Yeah, I'm telling you, some of the most negative, violent things that I've ever heard have come from vegans when I bring up like milk, right, or ice cream.
It's like a cult.
Yes,
they're acting cultish.
Yes,
seriously,
right. I don't get it. I don't. I really don't get it, man. I don't.
Me neither.
I don't.
And I watch nature shows, and all these animals are tearing up each other. And we can't have a freaking, it should be clean, and the animals shouldn't be tortured. But if your body is calling for meat, eat freaking meat. Who am I to say you shouldn't and act like a? Oh, this shit pisses me off.
I know. Me too. And see, this is if I have guests over at the house, and they are vegan, I will do everything to make them warm, comfortable. Let's figure it out. We'll get you fed, and you're going to be happy. Welcome to my home. But a meat eater going to a vegan party, oh, that's a bad scene. That is a bad scene. That is a bad
Oh my God.
scene. Oh, get a rope.
It's like the flat earthers. It's like, get over it already. It's like, I don't care if the earth is octagon. Let's win this war over consciousness and whatever about.
Oh, you mean the Earth's...
size.
Wait. The Earth's not flat?
Oh, my God.
Hey,
I don't know. Show me the edge. Has anybody jumped off?
With all that research,
anymore?
with all that research, you would think we have a photograph of the edge now. You know what's really funny is, I have debated. Let's do a little flat Earth. Let's have some fun. I've debated and discussed it, and I've looked into it. I've got an open mind with everything. I'm in for a good debate. Let's try to figure this out, right? But this is one of the things that they want to use as their best example, right, of the conspiracy, of the big lie, is that everything has a curved lens, right? The windows on an airplane are curved to make the Earth look like it's a globe, or telescopes, and everything is distorted over long distances, and you should be able to see this, and you should be able to see, and I'm just like, wait a minute here. What you're saying then is that your head is round. I'm right? And the flat earther would say, yeah, my head is round. Okay, so if you went 20 miles away from me and I looked at you in a telescope or through an airplane window, then your head would be flat? Would it be the opposite? Is that what you're saying? So if this distortion is happening and everybody is part of this, so then if you held up a basketball and went 5 or 10 miles away from me and I looked at you through a camera or through a telescope or through binoculars, that the basketball is actually flat? Right? Just stop with that, man. Just stop.
I know.
Just stop. Just stop.
This is planet mind F-bomb. I'm not going to say the F word, but this is, and it's a test. And I don't care what any of these people believe about the size of the Earth, but just mellow out already, and stop projecting a right or wrong. If you're that two-dimensional, that's your freaking problem.
That is. But I'll tell you something else, Laura. And this is the God's honest truth on everything that is holy, right? If the Earth is flat, so what? It doesn't change a thing. What's the conspiracy? What does it tell me? What it changes? Why would I have to care?
Oh my gosh, thank you. And are my eyelids really blinking? Because I can see behind the dark. Whatever. We're multidimensional, and let me have my own experience and quit with the projections and the cultish attitude. Same with food and the vegan thing.
Yes.
That's not unity consciousness. That's the same sort of control that the same kind of individuals might be complaining about. It's like, you might want to look at yourself.
That's exactly the point, isn't it? And if you are going to be that, if you are going to be anti, which is fine, whatever your anti thing is, allow me to be my anti too. That's right. It. That's it. And just let it go. Just let it go. I wanted to say, going back to the flat Earth thing, what I love, and you and I have done this, when we openly discuss things and get all the points on the table, we don't have to agree, but let's have fun with the discussion, right? That's it. Let's have fun with that. But the opposite is what is playing out here. I think it's this. I think the flat earthers know that the earth is not flat. They know that it's round, but they just want the sport, right? They want a good debate. And
it's like a kid needing attention for the wrong reasons.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And then those that are out there that are susceptible to this and that are buying into it, those are the ones that are going to get hurt. I think the real flat earthers, those guys, they just want to debate. That's it. They know
they're drama freaks. I can't say queen because they're kings. They're not. They shouldn't even have kings. They're drama weird noids. I don't know what is up with the word noid anyway. I always wonder.
Right.
Reptoid, humanoid. I agree.
And the other, and staying on this subject, when we have these open debates about certain things in our community, which we have NDEs, we have ghosts, and we have interdimensionality, and we have 3D, 4D, 5D, 12D, whatever D. We have secret space program, or we have time travel, or all of these things out there, right? And suddenly we are censoring ourselves today. And that is really kind of flipping me out here, because I always thought, Laura, that this place, Fade to Black, a conference, a dinner table, when we are talking about conspiracy and this world that we are in, that everything was open and talked about. And now suddenly we want to say that this person or this group or this network or this, that we can't allow them to have a voice. Right?
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, why is this happening today?
Well, I mean, I think it's really hard for people to shake the programming, and they disguise it in new forms that seem to be conscious or, this is discerning, but yet it's trying to overtake other people's minds. And it's like, excuse me, step back a second. I mean, when I do a lecture, I don't need people to walk away believing everything I say 100%. I just wanted to trigger something to help them to find their own way. And the more exposure they have to everybody out there, pretty much the better. And if I don't agree with somebody, I might be a little concerned, but I hold that back as my own personal thing to maybe process. That's their journey. And if they feel an attraction to it and they feel they need to move through it or see it for what it really is by immersing themselves. It's like a relationship. It's like, why are you attracted to that person? Oh, wow, they ended up being a schmuck. Well, you needed that experience maybe to get to your true love. But who am I to say what's right or wrong? I'd rather hold space for people's, self-discovery and feeling safe and confident in the fact that there's people holding their hands, that if they do reach a crisis point, they can go somewhere, and that there's something beyond the information, and it's about the heart. And I think this perspective is the healthiest approach. I mean, sometimes I'm like, what? They're saying there's no negative alien agenda, but I'm like, wow, well, if that's what people need to believe in, well, maybe that's the dimensional frequency that works best for them right now.
That's right.
But it might produce some sort of lesson if that's not appropriate, because maybe the fact is there is actually a negative alien agenda, which I firmly am confident of. I mean, it's right there staring at us in the face. It's hidden in plain sight.
I remember...
But I'm not going to project that and disturb people. I'm just going to offer it as a resource, like a book in the library. Take it or leave it.
Right. I remember, it was in the mid '80s, and I got invited to a thing, a little UFO gathering, large, but I go, and I'm listening to everybody talk, all these conversations and things, and I was like, this is the coolest place ever. It's all being talked about, right? I can let it all hang out. I can be me, and everybody here has freedom of thought. And I thought it was the most wonderful thing. And lately, especially the last 12 months, last 16 months, this community is trying to censor itself, and it's bothering me. It really is. This was supposed to be the place where we were able to openly discuss things and ideas and experiences. And if we start telling people not to do this and not to do that, and we can't do that, and groups, and don't go listen to this or don't go watch that, we are censoring ourselves, and that is the exact opposite of our principles.
Well, I'm so glad you say that, because it's not setting the example. And again, my firm stance that I take is that diversity is oneness is diversity and harmony. Right. And the minute you start to censor, even with a deity, it's all Lucifer's fault. It's all the goddess's fault. It's just like, this is our soul architecture. Take responsibility within yourself. Don't negate any part of who you are, which means don't negate a part of the greater community. And if there's something you don't resonate with, nobody's asking you to put them on a pedestal and worship them. There's something to be gained. So don't go around trying to control people's mind, telling them who to listen to and who not to listen to. Give everybody a voice and give everybody else the respect to decide what they're going to take from it. I mean, when you open the door to a library, you can go hog wild, or a festival even, with the people you meet. You can meet the worst predators or the greatest spiritual beings. It depends on what you need to experience in order to either create better boundaries or inspirations.
Why do you?
And we got to let each other be free to do that.
Do you think that there are some outside influences outside of our community that are causing, through trigger words or trigger thoughts, the fanning of the flames? Do you think that is going on? I know the answer is probably yes, but and the reason. Because I think that we need to hear that, so we know that it's not necessarily us. These people that are causing issues may be influenced by something that they can't control as well. Maybe we shouldn't point fingers.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of multi-generational abuse. There's a lot of people that have been pulled into projects that are being used by handlers to create the agenda that they want. And I have a lot of compassion for those individuals, but at the same time, this other energy is channeling through them, and it's like, okay, so I'm always constantly challenged with, how do I deal with this one? And this is the same thing with programming. You can feel a deep insecurity connected to somebody saying something really mean that is undeserved.
Right.
And then later on meet somebody that thinks it's the most incredible part of you. It's just, and it comes down to, well, what are you going to choose to own at the end of the day? And is it really about their opinion? And sometimes we have to hear the negative in order to say, you know what? I ain't digging that, and I'm not going to fall prey to that. And that brings out a passion that can set us free, but not everybody's ready for that. And then, there's being appreciated and then taking it for granted and not letting the good guys win because you need to create drama, which is a part of the program. So it's a very crazy balancing act, and we're all manifesting at different stages of spectrum as far as what roles we play to trigger each other into, I think, a very high state. But if we were to wait for everybody or think we need to count on the human race to get it for us to ascend, that's pretty dismal. I think that each of us as individuals can go through those initiations and get there, even if the human race doesn't get it. And that's just my new conclusion, and I'm sticking with it because sometimes I look around and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And I wanted to ask you before we hit this break, this came up about an hour ago, but I'm going to go back to it now. Dwight D's famous speech about the military-industrial complex was an ominous warning to us and to the world. It's never been more true than it is today. But was that speech discussed in your family? Did you guys know what impact that would have over the years and the decades ahead?
Well, it's funny because I always, especially after a couple of glasses of champagne, I'm like, let's rip this door open here.
Right.
Talk about UFOs, talk about ETs, talk about the speech, you know. But the things the Eisenhower family has always been centered around is love and support. We each have our roles. There's no judgment, and there's no lack of support. So I took on a pretty heavy aspect of the role. And other people, like my Uncle David, I mean, he's written a few books about the different wars. And John Esty, my grandfather, wrote a lot of books about the wars, but they're like totally not into war. They always express these stories need to be told. But they see me delving into these deeper layers of the military-industrial complex. And I expected, I'm going to be ostracized, or God, maybe they are Illuminati, and I'm just going to be like annihilated by them. God, those two words sound alike.
Right.
And I found more and more respect and more appreciation, because that wasn't their maybe role to play. It wasn't what they were in agreement to. So I've always asked questions, and it's always been sort of diverted into something else. And I mean, I would say I meet with, my aunts and uncles, and my grandfather recently transitioned, and I try and bring these subjects up, but there's always something that wants to change the subject. Like, it's a little bit too heavy, it's a little bit too much, and it's the same sort of thing we were talking about, where the betrayal is so heavy. And I remember my grandfather was like, and same with Julie Nixon, who's my aunt, they both had one thing in common. They were both children of a president, and they said, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, because the burden you carry to protect the things that you're being threatened by versus exposing things that, could really help the situation, they wouldn't wish upon anyone. And I was like, and here comes Laura incarnating with a big mouth. Don't worry, y'all. I got this.
Let's take a break right here. That was good. That's a good segue. Let's do that. We'll pick it up when we come back. Our guest tonight, the one and only Laura Eisenhower. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. More with Laura right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
Hi, I'm Matt Ray for U.S. Gold Bureau. I cover the market daily. No matter how strong it gets or what long-term predictions say, you can count on one thing as certain. There will be another crash. It will affect your assets. And when it happens, wouldn't you rather be 2 weeks or even 2 months ahead of the curve? Well, Wall Street insiders have been quietly converting their assets into gold for the last few years. Now it's your turn. Buying gold and silver is easier than buying stocks with the U.S. Gold Bureau's Investor Guide. It's free, and you learn how to buy precious metals in or out of an IRA or 401k retirement plan. Your investment's shipped directly to your home and is 100% insured and guaranteed. You control your investments and shelter them against the stock market, politics, and unknown threats. Act while your dollar is still worth something. Call U.S. Gold Bureau, 800-885-GOLD. U.S. Gold Bureau, 800-885-GOLD, 800-885-GOLD. Call today.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Our guest tonight, Laura Eisenhower. Now, Laura, let's do this. Let's talk a little ET agenda. The word disclosure means so much. It's different to so many different people. It's a different thing, but there is something going on right now. What do you think? And okay, let me put it to you this way. We've been discussing this all night. We have so many different guests on this show with so many different theories and ideas and experiences. And so for you, what is the ET agenda, and are we on the brink of disclosure?
Woo! That's quite a question. Well, the ET agenda, there's a lot of different control groups. I would say the two main ones, as far as my research and experience has revealed, are the Black Suns and the Sons of Belial. I might be saying it wrong. I don't know, tomato, tomato. But these two different control groups hold a lot of different ET races. I mean, Corey Good talks about 22 different genetics, and that we're interacting with at least 900 different species. So that'll bend the mind. So as far as the things that resonate with me the most, being sort of a kinesiologist in the information I bring forth, you know, seeing if the frequency of my physical agrees with the information I'm sharing, I would say there are two main groups. And if you really break it down, it's about service to self, service to others, without being totally immersed in, it's all about the law of one. But I would say any ET agenda, some want to support our development and some want to control us and feed on us. The reason I go into the archetypal and the mythological is because when we look at it from a spiritual aspect or a personal template aspect, we're in a free will universe, and the masculine and feminine differentiated and divided a little bit, and it invited this sort of negative ego construct to come through, which I feel opened us up to this warring race and aggression from a reptilian group that attacked Lyra and our avatar consciousness. So each of us on a DNA level hold the exact replica of what's happened on a galactic, cosmic, and earthly level. And this particular planetary body was created almost as a holding tank out of unconditional love to help steer us back. Because due to hybridization and manipulation and, you know, all these different things, souls started to steer further and further away from true source. And we're not talking lower Anunnaki gods or control freak forces of punishment. We're talking 0 point. We're talking that doorway that leads into other universes like the Andromeda galaxy that we used to be one with. So the alien agenda is to separate us from that and sort of replace or supplement our connection with it by making themselves out to be our gods that we're sort of enslaved to. And there's, you know, two main groups, I would say, but I think many different systems or fallen angelics fell into that trap of saying, oh yeah, similar to, I mean, okay, a representative, I guess you could say on a human level would be like Aleister Crowley or Hitler, and even Churchill got wrapped up in it, but Eisenhower became the scapegoat of these negative ET agreements or treaties, but by the time it got to him, these three-letter organizations were already established, and it was a form of surrender. And Corey Goode, fortunately, is bringing out a lot of information that validates that. Now, do I have direct proof that it's these three characters? No. But one of my favorite, I guess, compadres in this mission is Lisa Renee, energeticsynthesis.com. And the Guardians have come through and basically they talk about the origins of these treaties. But yet it's even older than that. So if people are interested more in what I'm saying, because I know people are like, oh, where are you going with this? I'm planting a bit of a seed of curiosity to maybe, you know, seek some answers in regards to the Crowley, Churchill, and Hitler connection with making deals. And, you know, these invasions of Admiral Byrd in Antarctica and the flyby, and I believe it was right before Eisenhower fully took office, they were still trying to win the war. But in the history books, it's like, oh, yeah, we won the Second World War. It's like, no.
Right.
Project Paperclip, Project this and that, Project what the F. Maybe that's our project.
Yeah, right.
Do you notice how I'm refraining from actually saying the full-on word?
Right,
you know
right.
But yeah, so it's a control thing, and it's basically the origins, I feel, and what I've discovered is it's a breakaway thing. It's a form of rebellion. It's what the ego does. So in a free will universe is going to say, let me play with power. Let me see what I can get away with. And it's going to try and cut those off from true source because it holds that sort of influence. Is that bad? Is it good? It's beyond that. If we can reconcile between the bad and good, then we can incorporate it into the alchemy and redeem it, knowing that it's a part of our inheritance. Same thing with the things that we get from our biological families. Do we reject them? No. We have to do something with it. Will it cause us digression? Yeah, it could. But we have the choice to take it to the next level if we can just push the envelope a little bit and not be so controlled. And this is the great thing about truth, or, you know, going through a school system or being raised in religion or with abusive parents and saying, wait a second, this isn't the ultimate. I don't need to become self-destructive or programmed and controlled by it. And it takes a strong soul or it takes a lot, but this is where the warriors are. And the warriors are no better, but they do have a particular role they came in with to help activate everybody else. And that's where there's no greater or lesser. And that's where I think we fall into the trap of the negative alien agenda of, oh, whatever's the chosen one, rebelling against that or feeling lesser than. And that's all, those timelines and those that were hosting the timelines fell into that, I think, distortion. It was more about helping to raise the frequency without having a patriarchal slant. I mean, but it goes beyond that and how the mother energy was used in the very beginning. And that's where we hear about Alchemist and all these different aspects of Sophia and Lucifer in Gnosticism. But I even feel that some of those things aren't accurate. So I would say if we want to look at control agendas, look at yourself. Where are you being ruled by your negative ego? Whether that's steering towards lack of self-worth or overinflation of self. And can you find a center point so that you can begin to embrace that everybody else around you is another you?
What do we do? Well, what do we do with that if we are constantly getting information from different groups, the benevolent, the agenda is to bring us peace and to help us here, but until we our consciousness is raised, we are not going to be exposed. There's all of that, and then we have the other side that is saying, no, this is bad, this is dark. They have infiltrated, and they've been doing this for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. And so we have two different stories here that our audience and the community is wrestling with constantly. I mean, will we ever get to the bottom of it?
Absolutely, because to me, it's a part of our soul architecture. We carry all these archetypes, we carry all these scenarios, but it all comes down to, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to integrate them? Are you going to find peace amongst all of it? It's like we started with the Trinity, and then all of a sudden we have pantheons, and Persephone's being abducted by Hades, and Inanna's going through the 7 gates of hell. Like, why the hell is a goddess crammed in the underworld, exiled? But that has to do with our belief systems and buying into the propaganda that wants us to negate that organic divine template that we're all built with. And so it comes down, that's why I said it comes down to us being willing to push the envelope against the programming, because we're being taken advantage of in a lot of ways because there is amnesia. We fell into a cycle of death and reincarnation, so we can't fully remember everything unless we really meditate and take the time. And so this 9 to 5 sort of work ethic,
Catch-22, right, yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so we can't take the time to fully process, yet our bodies are screaming for it. I mean, because it's innate in us to know what to do, but we're not raised knowing how to do it. So we have to sort of just step away from it all and be like, really? So I can't say it's all a negative. All I can say is that in a free will universe, we're all carrying different pieces of this larger picture, and
George,
it's all love and light, and let's not hold those that have been absolutely sick non-accountable, because I believe in justice and I believe they need to be held accountable. But look at where you're giving your energy away, and allow the things that make you feel uncomfortable to remind you of the greater power that you hold to change the script.
Giorgio Tsoukalos on the show about 3 months ago said something so profound, it moved me. And this is what he said. Check this out, Laura. He said, look, man, we've got all these experiences, we've got all this evidence, we've got all this contact, we've got all this stuff going on, and we think we know. He said, but the day that something lands on the 405 freeway, some big starship, and dudes come off and tell us what it's all about, he said, we're going to find out that we know nothing. Right? That everybody was wrong.
Yeah. But he was wrong or right?
No, wrong. Everybody was wrong, right? That, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's an important, and that is so profound. And that's part of humility. It's like, I don't know anything, but I know something, which is that. So all I can do is empower everybody to just be themselves, because that organic connection with your own soul and being is the answer.
That's right.
If you start to give your power away or start to assume that the future is going to unfold in a certain way that isn't in resonance with you, then you're not really operating your vessel. It's like a skipper that's not taking the helm, and so who is? So about the stuff that I share is to help inspire people to just be okay, just being you. Don't worry about enlightenment.
Right. Well, wait. Right. Well, okay, stop right there for a second, because if we do take all of everybody else's beliefs into account, does that start to pollute our own thinking for ourselves and our own karmic releases, right?
I totally feel that. And that's why relationships, that's why we would create the word control freak or, okay, I'm not going to say wrong words here that aren't appropriate on radio, but we have a sense, we have a trigger. You know, what's the most healthy sort of relationship? Mutual respect and allowing each other to be yourselves, because the frequency of you being who you are and attracting somebody who honors that and appreciates that and doesn't wish to change it is key. But if you're not in integrity and you're still learning a lot of lessons and you don't know how to, you know, honor somebody else's commitment, then try and be as clear with yourself as possible, because we don't want to hurt each other. But at the same time, maybe those agreements come together for a reason. Maybe they're random. I don't believe in generalizations. That's like stereotypes.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know anything. And that's why I have something to say, because in that space of nothingness, I allow something else to come through that will hopefully empower people to just be true to themselves. And in my research and in my discoveries, there are things that back it up that relate to the process of this planetary body's in. But my God, take it or leave it. Why would I want to shove belief systems down anybody's throat? I just hope it triggers something to bring one closer to who they truly are. And I always hold that intention even before I do a reading. My God, I don't want anybody to even think or be like me. It's like, no, not a good idea. But there's some things, you know, that I've dedicated myself to, that I recognize that, you know, take it or leave it. When I was younger, it was, I'm living a double life. If I get no credit for it, I don't care. It has to be done. This has to be done. Now, and I was transparent enough to a universal energy that I didn't claim as territorial. I'm not going to claim I'm anyone or anything. It's just what I chose to do and surrender myself to.
Well, that's why we listen to you, to be honest. To be honest with you. This constant barrage that we have been getting over the last, well, certainly concentrated over the last 12 months, but let's go back maybe 3 or 4 years with exoplanets, fast radio burst, radio contact. Now they're talking about laser beam contact, you know, the alien megastructure around Tabby's star. We are getting something every single week, you know, alien life on Europa. And so it's been, you know, it's been constantly in the news over the last, you know, what do you think is going on? Are they warming us up for the big one?
I would say so. And I posted something recently about a show called People of Earth, which is major disclosure. And
love that show. Love that show. Love that.
Hilarious.
Oh my
God, I have it on in the background, and I don't even need to watch. I just hear it.
Right.
It's hilarious. And, I mean, I think we're being warmed up, but at the same time, I don't think it's up to them to decide how we receive it. Because you and me and a lot of our colleagues and friends, we've been the disclosure for many years. So it's like, oh, nice that you guys are catching up with us, and glad that you're up to par with exposing a lot of the same kind of truth that we might have experienced, you know, through hearing people's experiences and giving them the benefit of the doubt,
right,
and not being all like, oh, you're crazy. I feel like we have been the leaders of disclosure, and now there's other forces out there or other groups out there that are saying, well, they sort of are going to probably catch on to everybody, so we better make fun of this shit real quick before we're in the doghouse. That's kind of part of what my intuition's saying. But the thing is, we can't hand over disclosure completely and totally to an external force. We've got to listen to everything that's around us in terms of disclosure and where it's coming from, but come back to ourselves and say, well, what is your experience? And what are you ready for? And, you know, as an astrologer, I see that people set up different life events purposely, or it was pre-planned, or it's just a part of the organic unfoldment, like a seed that you put in the ground that's destined to bloom, that they're going to hit the truth. Because, I mean, we don't want to digress. We don't want to have to off ourselves in a suicidal rage of, like, frustration in this realm. And I think there's a survival mechanism. Yeah, some people give up, but they're not fully lost. We hold space for them. They're fine. And why shouldn't they be? You know, all these belief systems create traps, and they put people and souls in boxes. I think the best thing we can do is say, hey, I honor your soul journey, and here's where I'm at, and let's mix and meld and do the best we can with it. But there's some serious dark lords. Ring lords are pretty cool. Dark lords of these gates that will psychically attack you when you start to move into the galactic chakras. And that's usually the base of the skull. It creates an infinity spiral around the top of your head. And, you know, people think it all ends in the 7 chakras. It's like, no, there's so much more. And I'm convinced of it to the point, well, I'll share it. But if you don't believe in it, you think I'm going to judge you? It's like, I love you just the same. And that's the important thing, is that we don't need to hold so tightly to our information where we negate people if they don't accept it. But the people that don't accept it shouldn't be abusive.
People of Earth reminded me of a Fade or Not party. That's it. I mean, right. It was just like the show is so cool, but it was so I mean, they had all of the terminology, all of the correct thoughts, all of the methods, all of the theories. It was really well researched. I don't know who was the key point in the writing on that, but it was certainly written for us. I mean, just absolutely incredible. Yeah, right. Ray just posted. It was so on point. I didn't want it to end. So anyway, Ray just posted in Twitter. He says, "Does Laura know how to restore a calcified pineal gland?"
I mean, I think a general detox is going to start to break away anything that's been accumulating, particularly in the glands, because the glands connect to the stargates, which connect to the chakras. So I found a correlation between how many glands, how many stargates, how many organs, and blah, 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 being a total nerd. I can't quite catch all the information right now, but I think minerals are really important, particularly Himalayan salts, because the minute you put the right minerals in your body, your cells are like, oh, this is what we need to do with any sort of foreign substance or accumulation, of energy, because fluoride and different things from our environment that are unhealthy would produce that. Diatomaceous earth is a really good thing, but it has to be food grade. The other kind is good for knocking out pesticide or, insects or critters that you don't want around.
I'll tell you something funny.
And that's what I found.
I'll tell you something funny. I was at a gathering, and Rita and I are there, and there was a shaman, an alchemist, in the full alchemist garb. Okay, all right, head to toe.
Oh, of course.
Right, yeah, full on. And I had heard somebody told me this guy was like 96 years old. I'm not exaggerating. He looked like he was mid-50s. And so big, tall, gracious, looking guy. Anyway, so they come up to me, and you're going to love this, Laura, and they take an eyedropper and they put this, I didn't even put up a fight, an eyedropper drop of something right on the top of my head, right on the crown, right? and I'm not questioning anything, and so anyway,
right? Because he's a shaman,
right? I go, so what was that? That's going to open up your pineal gland, Jimmy. And I'm like, okay, here we go, right? So anyway, I know, right? So and then they put some lotion on my hand. There was something that was going on there too as well. And they put the lotions on my hands. So anyway,
thank God for that.
So anyway, about a half hour later, we're standing in a circle. There's about 30 or 40 of us talking. A little business, a little presentation, some stuff going on. All shamans, all alchemists at this gathering. By the way, high level stuff. Stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, and I'm looking around. And I'm going, the colors are wonderful here, right? And I was like, wait, whoa. I got to center myself. Something is going on right now. And I'm looking around. I'm wondering if everybody is noticing the colors. Right? And that's what's going through my head. And I'm like, oh, my God, I've got Coast to Coast tomorrow night. Am I going to be normal by tomorrow night? But anyway, it was like the coolest thing ever to have this happen. And I know it was alchemy, and it was Mother Earth, and it was all natural. It was all that. But all that spiritual shit. Right. And it happened. And it was really, really, really cool. And
nice.
Yeah. And but this was the trippy part. Everybody's talking, right? And I can see their mouths moving, and I'm not understanding, right? And I'm looking at colors, the nature of the environment that we were in. And it was pretty amazing. And I don't even know.
Wow.
I don't know what was dropped on my head. But something
That's amazing, though.
Yeah, something decalcified my pineal gland right then. It was
oh my God, when
cool.
you said that, I stepped on something that just activated something in my foot. No, it's true.
Trippy.
It is trippy.
And when
we haven't even begun to tap into all the. I mean, it's like, do you remember when you squish your eyes and have a psychedelic experience as a kid? You know, you just squeeze your eyes, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, it's like DMT. And then, your mom's
close.
right. It's like, get off the stick.
Yeah, you're closer to the mark than you know, but that line wasn't crossed that night. But it could have been.
Yeah, but you're already there. It's like,
right.
It was almost like what I'm seeing. Well, I'm not saying I'm like, wow, I'm a mega clairvoyant. I did, we all have that ability. I fine-tuned that out of control ability, and gosh, when I hear you say it, it was just a little nudge. I mean, man, you've been there. You've been downloading, and you've been dedicated, and you came in with this amazing purpose, and that was like, all right, it's time to give you a dose of total bliss.
Right.
This is the gift you're giving humanity, because that's a huge part of your frequency.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. And see, the thing is, for me, I've always had that open mind, but being around so many people with knowledge where I am able to absorb all of that in, when I go out now and I'm driving down a busy street and I'm looking at people, and you know what, I'm just like, man, they think they have it figured out, but they don't. And it's painful. It hurts,
Yeah.
Because
I hear you.
It's just,
and you're not being ego about it.
No.
You're coming from a place of spiritual, I wouldn't say authority, but knowingness.
Yes.
And that sensitivity is why you do so good in what you do, because you're raising consciousness. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
You're absolutely right. But we got to take a break here anyway, so that's why you cut me off. You knew that.
Oh,
our guest tonight.
Maybe. I don't know.
Our guest tonight is Laura Eisenhower. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Laura right after this short break. You guys stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Do you worry a lot? If you're forgetful, nervous, moody, or overwhelmed, chances are you're not protecting yourself from the ravaging effects of stress and anxiety. No matter the cause, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, your quality of life, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in as little as 1 to 2 weeks and increase your ability to recall facts, names, and numbers in 4 to 12 weeks. Calm and Clever was created by scientist Kurt Hendricks, a principal investigator in 2 NIH-funded studies on Alzheimer's disease. Try Calm and Clever for 2 months. You'll feel the difference. Call 1-800-758-8746 or go to calmandclever.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Laura Eisenhower. As always, nice, open, frank, and to-the-point discussion. And, Laura, what I wanted to go at now is character assassinations that occur in our little community where they attack the person and instead of the message or the idea and debate that, they want to do a character assassination. You certainly have dealt with your share of that. How do you deal with it? And why do you think it's a character assassination instead of trying to attack or debate the information?
Wow. Gosh, you just asked the best questions. Sometimes I just triggered, like it makes me shake, and it actually really hurts, but it's not like a conscious decision like, oh, I'm buying into it. It's like I'm just really sensitive, right? And I'm like, oh my God, that's the antithesis of what I'm here to do. Like there's a website that's calling me a Nazi whore. It's like, seriously? I'm like the opposite. And that's from somebody who created God knows how many accounts. And then it's just like, wow, I don't know if it's because I'm British or we all have sort of an insane sense of humor. And I'm like, wow, we could turn this into a parody. Like, this is really good material for some kind of parody. And if I don't turn it into something I can laugh at, yeah, it hurts. And you would think, I've been a public speaker since 2010. I've been aware of my mission since I was a kid. And I've had horrendous past lives. but I've had ones that are ancient where, you know, it all kind of made sense. And it's like, I don't know, like the Battle of Evermore song. But I do get triggered, but I react sometimes to like, don't feed the trolls. And I'm like, you know what? Not all of them are trolls. Some of them are really confused, and some of them have actually turned around and been on my side because I gave them the time of day. They were really frustrated with the information, and they were sort of acting out. And I was sort of like, okay, you know, I'm not going to just get rid of you because of that, or I'm not going to just condemn you as a troll. And those very people had my back when there was actually somebody that was seriously trolling. They said, if you mess with Laura, you know, and all of a sudden it was like, are we in recess here? And personally, I feel very detached. But I remember there were certain points where I was getting triggered into a lot of anger and sadness because I was going through this terrible breakup. And I'm like, man, we're like on the public stage. I thought we were going to be an example that I was like, yeah, you just mess with me in the YouTube comments because there's some tough love, mother effing wank that's going to come your way, but it's coming from a good place. I feel my foundation is unconditional love. But yeah, it's like, how do you handle it? I don't know. Depends what mood you're in. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, block, delete, get the freak out of here.
Right.
Other times it's like, I want to say something because I don't think you're a troll. I think you're just confused, and I think you want some answers. And other times it's a troll, and I'm like, your troll academy kind of sucks because whoever you're training is not being very effective. Yeah, you're not pushing my buttons to the point of ruining my mission, but I will tweak your ass in the ass.
Right. Why? You know, that is a very, very fascinating way to look at it because the internet and the ability, it's never been like this before in the history of mankind, where now you can let a side of you out that has always been bottled in, and you can hide behind the keyboard and the computer screen and remain anonymous. And the most conservative librarian in the world is on the internet can be this vicious 300-pound gorilla with, you know, very, very bad emotions, right?
Right, and I'm completely wounded and damaged, and I could totally rage on people I don't agree with, and I don't. But if somebody's coming at me, I'm not going to put up with it. That's all there is to it. You don't mess with me, you know, and I can either delete you or block you, or I'll give you some tough love. Yeah, there's still a foundation of love there. Or I'll rip your balls off and throw them to the nether side of Pluto.
Well said. And why do you, and now taking it away from you and looking at other members of the community, where now it has been like this open game of character assassination on others, you know, and suddenly.
It's so rampant.
Yeah, why?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, I said, you know, why? Why suddenly is this like accepted behavior? It was never like this before.
Oh, right. So, I mean, we do have to make T-shirts and just say either, hey, we're the light workers. If we go to the airports, we're flying to an event, like, hey, we're the light workers. You know, but we're also the dark workers. We're going to help you work through your shadow. But we're not pros. We're human along with you. But, yeah, no, it is getting a little bit worse. And it's a little disturbing. But at the same time, it's almost like, there's an organic component here where something has to reach the critical and most critical before it gives way. But I'm so sick of the cliche, it's always calm before the storm, or which storm? What storm? I don't have patience for those people. It's like I have more delete people, blocked people on my list than I did ever having friends before I was going to put this stuff out publicly.
Right.
It's like, I don't have time for it. It's not my timeline. I don't need to battle this stuff. It's like, you know, I'm forgiving, I'm compassionate, but it's like, I don't see where I deserve it. And then I turn it on myself, and I'm like, okay, well, and then I'm like, there's nothing really to find except, yeah, I'm not perfect. Yeah, I struggle with the same sort of human shit anybody else does. So I think, the breaking point is for these oppositions to come together, the negative alien agenda and all the angelic and holy grail lines, to come together and just say, hey, quit trying to sabotage us. We unconditionally love you and forgive you, but you need to be held accountable. And whack across the face, metaphorically.
Right. Right.
And I'm such a mega Libra that I want to take them all to court. You have no idea how many people I've messaged and said, I'm taking you to cosmic court. You're freaking sued. I don't have the time and patience to do it in this incarnation. I don't have the money to hire the lawyers.
Right.
And the lawyers are probably messed up.
Right.
But when it comes to the cosmic place, you will be held accountable because it's BS. And I went to places. I've gone to healers. I've worked my past life energies. And I said, what did I do to deserve this? They said, you have a lot of light and you have a big mission and there's major forces trying to stop you. And stop taking it so personally. I'm like, you got it. You got it. Right?
Yeah, and then there is, and I see it all the time mentioned, the fallback of like Mercury's in retrograde. You can't be mad at this person because it's actually external, and they don't know that this is actually what is causing the negativity to flare up. And I think that there is there's some truth to that.
Well, I hear you, and I agree. And the thing is with Mercury retrograde, it's like, whose idea was it? I didn't take the planet and start to reverse it, and neither did anybody else. So it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe you put Mercury in retrograde. It's more like, wow, okay, this is a part of this greater cosmic body and intelligence that wants us to step back and process on a more inward level. But they bank on it just like they did with us falling into the death reincarnation cycle.
Right.
So, but at the same time, if we didn't have this kind of catalyst, we wouldn't have the contrast to know how to return to ourselves. We wouldn't feel threatened enough to know what's at stake. Doesn't make it okay, though. I mean, as much as I can accept, like, oh, I see why you showed up on this greater scale of free will universe. You don't mess with. No, there's certain things you just shouldn't do. Pedophilia, like rape. It's like, programming the masculine to be a schmuck and the feminine to be a victim. It's like,
yeah.
I'm not going to get all fired up, but I am.
No, but see, this is what's interesting to me is I've had a few readings, right, and I have had some that have been very, very accurate, and I've had some that literally have been to the point where, okay, 2 weeks from now you're going to start running off at the mouth. And so stop that or try to, and just know it's this that is causing it. And you don't want to cause angst out there. But then after you get through that 2 week period, after that, it's going to go, and I've listened. And then sure enough, Laura, these periods of weeks that go by go exactly how I was told that it was going to be, what the charts were saying. And if we are cognizant of that, if we have somebody that we can trust and depend to be accurate, you can actually see that it's not you, it's not other people, it's not, enemies, it's other things that are causing this. And if you are aware of that, then you can actually run a little bit smoother.
Oh, that was so well said. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So this must be being recorded, right?
Of course it is.
That was so precious. It's that neutrality. It's being the observer. It's like all these different things are running through us. We're conduits of the greatest thing that could ever happen and the most crappy. So we got to mix it between who are you, what is your authentic tone, like you're a musician in a band, and how are you resonating with the orchestra.
Right.
If you're out of tune, step back and take a look at it and maybe question if that's the right orchestra for you. And if you're playing in tune, is everybody else truly in resonance? You know, question whether or not they should agree, you know? I just got a pedigree commercial. See, I go into these 70s commercials. Like, remember the wagon wheel? And yes. I don't watch TV. But anyway, my point is, I live for people being authentic and knowing when enough is enough. And I've always appreciated the people that have expressed that to me. I'm very sensitive, Scorpio, Libra. I don't want to cross anybody's boundaries. But knowing that that was so important to me, I've always made it a theme of my life, is to work myself with these events that I do and these talks that I do in a similar way, by making sure people know, like, you don't need to be intimidated and all of a sudden give your power away. It's like, God, that would make me probably throw up. It's like,
yeah, right.
God,
right.
Why would you want to do that? Laura's actually a pretty sad case. But I've opened myself up to things that I think are really worthwhile, that are teaching me, that I honor, that I know are helping me, and I think they can help other people.
I wanted to end here with this. Last week, Jim Mars left this planet to go and do some journalism on the other side and go tear some people down. But he left, and you, I think maybe even twice, you were on Fade to Black with Jim Mars. Certainly, I remember at least once or twice a contact in the desert. Yeah. And what did he mean to you, and what did you learn from him over the years?
Oh, it's like always a breath of fresh air and a revelation. I remember Jim Mars and I driving to a hot tub party, and it sounded like some annoying, fraternity setting, but we knew it was like probably in mineral waters, and he just kept confiding in me and sharing with me. And I was like, I was really honored and grateful that he felt a safety zone with me. And I just felt like, God, he's part of my family. And then, it was very sort of discreet, like, and here we are at this party. And then, oh my gosh, 2 more events together. We went to a SETI, and we kept being lined up in the same panels. I've been in a lot of panels. Right. But there was a huge theme of being in panels with Jim Mars. And just the love and respect he gave me, it was just, I don't know. Why? I mean, it's not like I'm looking for a surrogate family, but, you're my soul family. And, yeah, Jim Mars is, he's some of the first books that I skimmed through. I can't read full books. Right. Because being a single mom of twins throughout the years and this and that and ADD, but the right kind. I would get what I needed, and it was just like, oh my gosh, he solidified a lot of the things that I already suspected, and man, gosh. I know, right? But these people transition, but they help to lift the veils. I mean, they're right there with us. He's so with us still.
Oh, 100%.
Anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all. Why do you think people resonated with him like they did? I mean, he could have said anything and got anybody to listen. Why do you think he had that talent?
Because I think deep down, everybody longs for that grandpa sort of Santa Claus archetype without being like stupid and programmed. Right. It's like, this is this is Jim Mars. And we're trying to figure out the Mars agenda, and his name was Mars with 2 R's. So, I don't know, and being able to put all that he did into books, I mean, that's very respectful. And I don't think anybody could escape the fact that he's just an incredible being. Some people carry that frequency where no matter how programmed you are, you can't help but be interested in what they have to share. And the fact that he could have just lived his life he's a well-educated person, he's got his wife, and he's a dedicated, the thing that always gets me, and this is why I love you so much, is because you're dedicated to your partner. And I think that is critical. You know, you're not going around messing with people's heads. You honor your wife and your daughter. Like, I couldn't get over, like, oh my God, your daughter just had her birthday. It's like, sure, wow. You know, some people wouldn't even like. So, and I noticed the same thing about Jim Mars. So actually, qualities about you I noticed in Jim Mars. And Jim Mars, oh my God. When I first went to the bookstore and just this conspiracy stuff, I was like, thank God. No, I can't read the whole book. I don't read books. But I could just feel it. I could just feel it. And this is why I love being on your show, because I can feel it with you. And a huge part of feeling it is living it. Anyway, I'm really grateful.
Yeah, thank you so much, Laura. Now, safe travels. We'll see you, well, I guess we'll see you next Thursday. And the event...
Isn't that crazy?
I know. Eclipse of Disclosure actually kicks off on Friday, but Laura, we'll see you next Thursday evening. Safe travels up there. Be safe and be well, and we're going to have fun next weekend.
Oh, my God. Totally. All right. Much love. Thanks for having me on. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Laura. Laura Eisenhower, everybody. The links for Eclipse of Disclosure are over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can go over there right now. Tickets and info. It will be at Shasta. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, because Monday is the eclipse. And that will be Monday morning. We're all going to be up there. It's going to be great. All right. Take a break right here. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Thank you, Laura Eisenhower. Be right back.
Hey, what up, y'all? Sugar Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. Get the tea.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. Get the tea.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
I'm Matt Ray with America's First News. We all know if you're planning a trip, you should shop and compare, right? But why endlessly search the web when you don't have to? Flight Services helps you find the lowest possible airfare. Talk directly to a travel pro right now for the best deals available. Their travel pros have additional discounts not found on websites, and Flight Services provides 24-hour customer service. Call toll-free 844-845-9944. That's 844-845-9944.
What's up, Fadernauts?
Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you, Laura Eisenhower. Great conversation. Never going to be a Laura Eisenhower conversation without an F-bomb or two. She managed to get that done. Anyway, we'll all be up for a Cosmic Disclosure next week in Shasta, 18th through the 21st, 22nd. And the links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Go and click. Tickets and info are over there. The facility is great. It's going to be cool. All right. I guess I'll open up the phone lines, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. And let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Yeah, baby. Brad here.
Hey, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing actually very good after this show tonight, man. I just love it.
Yeah, great conversation, man. You know, and she's always spot on. She's always on the money.
I know. It's just, I saw her 3 years ago when I was coming into the scene, getting more enlightened and whatnot. And, man, there's just this ability that she has where she's able to just, like, resonate with everyone, you know, in some way or another. You know, F-bombs or not, it's just rad. She's able to touch on everyone and kind of like tweak their consciousness a little bit to enlighten themselves. And I just wanted to recognize that with all the Fade or Nots that rock.
Thank you, Brad.
And everyone out there that's listening tonight, you know, it's just, man, it's one of my favorite speakers since the get-go. And I'm so thankful you had her on tonight.
Thank you so much, Brad. And be safe and be well with your family. And I did see the sailboating pictures this weekend. You guys had some fun. Thank you so much.
All right, my brother. Have a good night.
You got it, Brad. That's what I'm talking about right there. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live. Oh, okay. Well, that is not live. Okay, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. And, okay, here we go. Eric, live.
Jimmy.
Yeah, man, live from Colorado. How you doing?
I'm tired. I drove like 19 hours. I spread it out over 2 days, and I slept like 3.5 hours last night.
Okay.
In court all day today.
Okay, so you're up at, can you take me off speaker?
I'm not on speaker. I'm actually in the bathroom because my friend's playing the music too loud. I can go outside, though.
Okay, yeah, no, don't worry about it. No, just stay right there. Okay, so you were in court today, all day, for the Stan Romanek trial, all the way up to the closing arguments. Okay, so I need you to stay objective. Just be a court reporter.
You got my word on it.
Yeah, well, no, I don't need your word. I'm just saying, what went down today?
Well, we got there right at 8:30, and boom, it started immediately. And Lisa Romanek was the first witness to speak, and apparently it was her second visit because they started the case for the defense on Friday. And apparently the prosecution, you probably know this, they put on their case Wednesday, Thursday, and half day Friday, and it was pretty much all technical files, how it works, and a whole boatload of pictures that we probably don't want to talk about, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So today, Lisa spoke, and then they brought, I think, is it Laura Albright? Does that name ring a bell to you?
Right.
She was there. They'd had 3 witnesses that came on. There were supposed to be 10, but I got the impression that the defense was so confident in their case that they chose not to call the other 7 witnesses, and they ended early because it was supposed to go till Wednesday, and all of a sudden it's Monday afternoon and it's over.
Interesting.
So I drove 19 hours to sit in court for one day.
Right. And so with the closing arguments, the prosecution always goes last, right? So how did the defense hold up for you in the closing arguments?
Well, as you know, so they gave them each an hour and 15 minutes. The prosecution, they had 2 attorneys, and the main guy did his presentation, just hammering. And then there was a guy and a female for Stan, and they were paid attorneys, and they were quite good. I mean, I could say that much. They were doing a good job. So the guy came in, and he hammered for about 45 minutes. And, after hearing it, taking emotion away, taking opinion away, it's going to be a tough decision because both sides made a good case. I'm not going to say who I think is guilty or not guilty, but then the prosecution got to come in for the final statement.
Right.
And the guy that came in on the final statement, he kind of took the ball and went beyond the end zone into the stands, and the defense attorney had to object because he started throwing some things in there that were not introduced as part of the evidence, and kind of spiced it up a little bit for his case. And anyway, I could tell you more later on speculation, but you probably don't want to hear it tonight. But it's going to be interesting.
Well, that's what the prosecution does, right? A good defense attorney is going to do the same thing. They're going to push the boundaries until objections are brought up. But the prosecution, they get to have the last word. So when they take it, like you said, and they go outside, they go out of bounds with it, and you can object all you want, but the jury still hears it. Right, they do that. They do that crap on purpose. Now, do you think what was the mood? I mean, what were people talking like during the breaks?
Good question. Okay, so I've been tweeting privately, but not very often with Stan's wife, Lisa. She's a sweet lady. I would say that if Stan and Lisa weren't going through this, Lisa would probably be a fade or not. She would be in the chat room. She just got that kind of personality, really outgoing. So they're all very confident. I mean, everybody there's about 15 people in the stands that are part of the Romanak team, we'll call it, the people that are supporting him. And there was maybe about 8 or 9 people on the prosecution side that were sitting over there. There was a lot of reporters in there. This is a story that kind of blew my mind. There was a lady there who lives in the community, and she is a research investigator. And I wasn't sure if she became a research investigator when this whole case started. But then I asked Lisa, and she says, no, she's been a research investigator for a long time, but when this case came about, she got real interested in it. So this was interesting. During the preliminary discussions where the jury was in the other room, they were trying to introduce more evidence. So they had a lady in there, and basically she's saying, you can't mention names, but you can mention the amount of people that you interviewed on behalf of this research that she's doing on Stan Romanak. So she gets on the stand, and she testifies that she talked to 150 people in the community, lawyers, doctors, professional people. She just took the pulse of the community, and they did not allow her to discuss the hearsay evidence. She can't say what she was told by other people, but the seed was planted. This lady was into it, man. It's kind of blow my mind. Imagine that. You're doing private research and you interview 150 people.
Oh, private research of what?
Of the whole case, there's...
What, of the child pornography side of it or the alien side of it?
It's okay. So Detective Koopman he was sitting next to the lawyers the whole day.
Right.
And he's if it weren't, okay, you probably know he's got a few bad marks on his record.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Right.
So they were, of course, bringing that up. That was what the defense hammered on. and they did a good job with that. And here's the thing that blew my mind is when they went in and they took Stan's computer, okay, they didn't ever, I didn't know this, they never questioned anybody in the house. There's 3 other people living in the house. They didn't do fingerprints on the computer, and one of the guys that lived there boogied after that to Nebraska. And then when the arrest occurred, he freaked out, and he actually took a shotgun and blew up his own computer in Nebraska. And he was the same guy that lived with Stan in his house during the time that they claim that this child pornography thing was going on.
Right.
So there's a lot of I mean, there's reasonable doubt there, no doubt in my mind. But the defense hammered the prosecution hammered so hard. I was looking at the jury, and I can tell that there was a lot of people in there, even at the end of the day, that hadn't made a decision yet. I could just feel it just by how they were reacting to both sides. A few people were taking notes, and a lot of people were not even taking notes anymore. It's like, it was strange. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting.
And what about the spectators? Are they feeling like the defense, defended themselves well? Or do you think or do you think the process?
Okay, I didn't know this when I first came in. I sat on the prosecution side, behind the prosecution, because I had a good view of the witnesses, and then I can kind of hear a little bit about what the prosecution would talk about on recesses. So I was kind of curious. But then, after talking to Lisa during the lunch break, she goes, "You need to get out of there and come over here and sit on our side." I said, "Okay." So on the second half, I'm sitting over there. But during the little break, there was another guy that was in there that was kind of like me. He was just there, he claimed, just as a curious person who wanted to hear the case. And he was there from the beginning, from Wednesday. And I said, I didn't get to hear the testimony last week. I said, if you were a juror and you were, going to make your verdict right now. And he immediately said, "Oh, he's guilty." And I said, "Really?" I said, "From what I've heard today, it didn't sound as if he was guilty. It didn't sound like they believed he was going to get guilty, but this guy was convinced." So that put my whole mindset into another area that made me kind of think, okay, well, hold on a second here, So it's interesting. Let me tell you, it's worth the drive. It's an experience. I cherish just the chance to hear what's going on and learn really what the whole deal is. Not have your speculation down the road.
Hey, did you talk to Stan Romanek?
I did, actually, because I tried not to talk to him because they don't really want you talking to people. So I only talked to Lisa because she's super friendly. She's talks to everybody. So I was chatting with her, and then Stan came out of the court on a break, and he saw me chatting. So he came up and he introduced himself and he shook my hand. Here's another part of the story I didn't tell you, which was I don't know if you know this, but Stan his dad's name's Stanislav. He's 90 years old. He lives in Wyoming. Did you know that?
Wait, no, I didn't. You were breaking up. Say that again.
I'm sorry, yes. Stan's father, his name is Stanislav, who's 90 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I ran into him by accident at the Secret Space Symposium 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas, because another guy who's one of Stan's friends says, "Yeah, this is Stan's father." He introduced him. And the guy's psychic. He goes, "Yeah, he's psychic." So I got to tell this story. This is interesting. So I'm driving up from California. I'm going to stay in Utah. And so I called the father just to let him know that because he gave me his card. And he says, "Give me a call when you're heading up there. I just want to make sure," he's a super nice guy. "I just want to make sure you make it safe. And please keep me posted on what's happening," because he's not there on the trial. And he goes, "Where are you staying in Utah?" And I go, "I don't even know because I'm in my computer. I've got it." And he goes, "Are you staying in St. George?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, I am. How did you know that?" And he goes, "Well, I just know things." So he somehow psychically knew where I was going to stay and had no idea ahead of time. So it blew my mind, actually. I thought that was a good story.
Yeah. Who would have guessed St. George? Well, so the jury gets this first thing in the morning. The trial has been going on since the 31st, so about 7. Well, but we have the weekend here, so it was only 5 days. It was supposed to be 7 or 8. Do you think? This is always the speculation, right? Do you think it'll be quick? No,
I don't. Okay, I mean, I am not a lawyer. I'm just going to tell you, I was surprised, and a lot of people were surprised that they didn't bring in the other witnesses, but there were people there all day long that were scheduled to testify. And for some reason, the defense just decided, that's it. We don't need to bring any more witnesses. I'm sure they had their reasons, But there was one guy that I got to talk to in the lobby that was there who was a professional. He was going to testify about how computers can be hacked, and he's a computer expert. So he was going to be the defense's guy who's going to raise the possibility that this computer was remotely accessed. That was his whole deal, and they didn't even bring him in.
Wow.
So he was kind of pissed about it too. So he's like, I'm there all day long, and they didn't even call me in. And anyway, so it's trippy. I mean,
was Romanek?
The defense is really confident. Let me tell you, the defense is confident, but I don't know if they should be as confident as they are. It's human nature. Those jurors.
Yeah. Well, was Romanek upbeat?
Yeah, he was upbeat. Very animated. When the lawyer on the prosecution.
Is he in jail or is he out on bail?
No, he's out. He's out of jail. He's been in the house.
Right.
He's like almost like on house arrest, but not literally. But he's not allowed access to computers and things of that nature. He's got to be on his best behavior.
Right.
One thing that was mentioned, that they're still having parties at the house. They got people coming in all the time, and that was brought up in court. They've got guests and parties. I mean, so the one lady said as many from 6 to 50 people are coming by there pretty regularly. So that's why I thought these guys would be perfect with faders.
Yeah. What about? How much time is he facing?
I don't know. I haven't researched that. I'm just trying. I'm kind of pulling for the guy. I mean, you know me. I'm totally anti-child porn, but if somebody's getting railroaded, I don't know that he is. I'm not giving my opinion on that. I'm just saying. I just believe in my gut, my intuition. I think if you were there, you would say the same thing, that just the energy and the vibe, and just you're looking at Stan's face and how he's reacting and how he's speaking and his mannerism and his confidence. He just does not appear to me as somebody that's trying to fake it. Like, yeah, I did this and I'm faking it and I'm going to fool all you guys. He's not that kind of guy. He's not an actor. He just he wears his stuff on his sleeve. He's that kind of guy. You know that.
Well,
but anyway,
it's going to be a harsh day tomorrow. Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
So we're on standby. I mean, they could go there and have a verdict in 2 hours, and then all of a sudden, we'll be having to wait out there. I want to be in the court when the verdict's announced, but it could also be, I won't be surprised if it's a hung jury. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised. And then it's a mistrial. So it could get dragged on for a day or two. They may say, I don't know, I just have this weird, this is just a psychic thing, I could be totally wrong. I just feel like there's 9-3 votes coming.
Oh, really?
And I could be wrong, but I'm just calling it now. If it does happen, then I'll know my psychic tuned in. But I just feel like, because a lot of things were said in the closing that sounded like the prosecution was setting up the possibility of a mistrial, because they're going to retry this in another county. So they're not going to give up. And of course, if it is Stan's going to have to keep fighting. I think their goal is to drag this thing on as long as possible.
Well, now the charges, I mean, how many charges does he have?
Oh, God, a boatload, dude.
He
had to leave the room. Like 20 charges.
Right.
And they read every freaking charge, and they went through all the possibilities, and if this happens and that happens, then that's doubt, and that's not reasonable doubt, and you can say he's guilty even if he says this. And it was so analytical. My head started spinning, and I just said, oh my God, these people, how on earth are they going to make a decision? Because, the prosecution did a great job. They both sides did a really good job. It's a really well-tried case. That's what I liked about it. It was good. Very well-tried case.
Okay, well, tomorrow's the day, man. And thank you for the reporting live and everything else. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll cover this tomorrow night on the show. Thank you so much, Eric.
Okay, you got it. Have a good night.
You too. Wow, yeah, that must have been a pretty stressful day going through that and that kind of testimony and that kind of evidence and those kind of charges as somebody that's sitting out observing this. That's pretty harsh. That's pretty emotional to go through. But that's it. Both sides have rested. Closing arguments have been completed, and it will be handed off to the jury at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So we shall see. We shall see how this plays out. Stan Romanek. Okay, let's get to all of the news that you know absolutely nothing about. An unidentified person has cashed out more than $140,000 worth of Bitcoins in ransom that was collected from victims of the WannaCry's global computer hack. WannaCry encrypted users' files. Hackers, they charged $300 to $600 for keys to get the files back. The ransomware virus hit hundreds of thousands of computers around the world back in May, targeting hospitals, business and government systems. And for 3 months, the ransom money sat untouched in 3 Bitcoin wallets. Now, a Twitter bot called @actual_ransom, set up by the media outlet Quartz to watch the Bitcoin accounts, picked up the first withdrawal last week on Wednesday, August 2nd. Now, within 10 minutes, the full amount was withdrawn in increments of around $20,000 from the 3 Bitcoin accounts and sent to 9 other accounts. Now, a couple of developments on this, and we'll probably hear more of the next couple of days. But the law enforcement agencies around the world are aggressively looking. Now, before you think that Bitcoin is anonymous, it is not. Do not think that it is. And they know exactly where this money is going. Somebody is about to get caught. And they let it go for 3 months, but they went in and you know, this is the other thing. With all of the, there were hundreds of thousands of computers that were attacked. And I don't know. I just thought that money, the $140,000 number, was extremely low. Right? That's all that, you know, I know that it was cracked and everything else. But nonetheless, it was only $140,000. And everybody is watching those Bitcoin accounts. Why would you just go and do it? Why? Well, anyway, it went down. All right, a new device. Now, this is about as science fiction turning into reality as you can get. A new device developed at The Ohio State University can now start healing organs in a fraction of a second. The technology is known as tissue nanotransfection, TNT. It has the potential to save the lives of car crash victims and even deployed soldiers injured on site. It's a dime-sized silicone chip. It's square. It's black. That injects genetic code into skin cells, turning those skin cells into other types of cells required for treating diseased conditions. This is science fiction turned into science fact. In lab test, one touch of TNT completely repaired injured legs of mice over 3 weeks by turning skin cells into vascular cells. And it not only works with skin cells, it can restore any type of tissue. Now, Chandan Sen, director of the Center for Regenerative Medicine and Cell-Based Therapies, has been reporting on this. For example, the technology restored brain function in a mouse who suffered a stroke by growing brain cells on its skin. Go and check out the images over on our Facebook page, our Facebook radio page. Check it out. It's just a little sticker that goes right onto the skin. It's absolutely, and it's real. Now, I reported last week, I posted this, the image of Albert Einstein sticking his tongue out actually sold for $125,000 to an unnamed buyer here in Los Angeles. Yeah, and you know the classic picture with the tongue sticking out, right, that everybody's got a poster of. It's in every science classroom in the United States. $125,000, the original, signed by Albert Einstein. French archaeologists have unearthed a Roman neighborhood in the country's southeast, calling the discovery a real little Pompeii. The findings include the remains of luxury homes and public buildings. The discovery took place on the banks of the Rhone River in the city of Vienne, about 18 miles south of Lyon. It was found on land awaiting the construction of a housing complex and covers nearly 75,000 square feet. The discovery comes 1 month after another Pompeii-like discovery was made back in Rome, Italy, during the construction of the city's new subway line. There you go. It's going down here in Los Angeles, too, as well, man. They're finding all kinds of stuff with the new subway line. They just found a mammoth skull, tusk, and they have anthropology right now on site in the LA subway construction. They're digging it up left and right. Now, check this out. Get this in. A powerful dark energy camera has allowed scientists to peer billions of years into the past to examine the first signs of light in the universe. It's called the DEC cam, the DE cam, as it is known, has contributed to the discovery of 23 young galaxies and even allows astronomers to see them as they were 800 million years after the Big Bang. The discoveries have been a major booster for researchers from United States, Chile, and China as they bid to picture the cosmic dawn, the time at which the appearance of galaxies and stars marked a dramatic lighting up of the universe after its dark early years, a process known scientifically as reionization. The instrument, which is one of the most powerful in the field of astronomy, is installed at the National Optical Astronomy Observatory in northern Chile at an altitude of 7,200 feet. And this concludes another episode of Fade to Black. I want to thank Laura Eisenhower for coming in. Another great conversation. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark T. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is only copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Richard Bleepin' Dolan, right here on Fade to Black. But until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.